Hey coin collectors, it's DC on the Big D Coin Channel, and this is the 1965 Jefferson nickel from the United States of America. It says "In God We Trust" in front of him. It says "Liberty" behind him. There's a star there, and the date here, 1965. And we have some special things to talk about with this nickel. And first is, why is it in plastic? And we have a bunch of other things to talk about. Well, as you can see, this is some kind of mint set. And there we go. It's a special mint set from 1965. Now, many of you have seen the other special mint sets from 1966 and 1967, and they are the ones that are in the hard plastic in the kind of cardboard case. The 1966 and 67 came this way, but the 1965 came in an envelope from San Francisco Mint, the Treasury Department. You see down here in the corner by my thumb, it says 1965 SS. So this is a special mint set from 1965. It's still in the plastic because there just weren't that many of them made. They made 2.3 million. And so I left it in the plastic just because there's some other things in the plastic that we'll talk about in a second that are still wrapped in this plastic, and I want to leave them all together. All right, so I said, well, maybe there's a couple secrets in here. And there is one thing that you can tell just right up front, and that is that if we look underneath Jefferson, there's no initials there. If we look over here, there is no mint mark anywhere. If we flip the coin over, there is no mint mark on the back. So what's going on here? Well, let's talk first about the initials. When this coin was first made, they didn't have the initials of Felix Schlag underneath. Those didn't actually come until 1966, the next year. And so I'll show you a 66. See how that has the FS there? And actually you can see they made more space for the neck. They redesigned it. So right here you couldn't have put the FS in there anyway. There wasn't enough space. You'd have to kind of cram it in. But see how they designed it to make it a little bit wider there? So in 1965 they hadn't put the FS in yet. So there was no initials for Felix Schlag, who designed both the front and the back of this coin. Now, when we looked at the back, we see that it is the Monticello, or Monticello, E pluribus unum, it says here at the top, out of many, one. In other words, we all got together, we united. And that's kind of the U.S. motto, that it's a United States, we're all together. It says Monticello here. It says 5 cents here, and down here it says United States of America. Now, there's no mint mark here either, and we know that the mint marks moved to the front of the coin at some point, and so why isn't there a mint mark here? Or it's not the front or the back. Well, let me show you that 1964 again. 1964 has no initials, right? This is a year before, but the 1964 has the mint mark there. So what happened here? Well, of course, in 1965, 1966, and 1967, the U.S. Mint didn't put any mint marks anywhere on the coin. They decided that too many people were hoarding and keeping coins, and so to keep them from getting them from certain mints, they took the mint marks off them completely, and they didn't come back until 1968. So no mint marks on these coins, and there's never going to be, and you're not going to find anyone anywhere. How can you tell this is from the San Francisco Mint? Honestly, the best way to tell is to look at the envelope. The second best way to tell is to look at the token in here, United States Special Mint Set. And the third best way to tell is that they didn't make any in plastic anywhere else. So if it's in plastic, it doesn't have a mint mark, you have the original envelope from the San Francisco Mint, you know it's going to be, and the plastic hasn't been cut or anything, right? So you know it's going to be a San Francisco Mint. Now, one of the things that we always talk about is how many steps on here. This is interesting because this is a mint set coin, but you have trouble seeing the steps on here. Now, how many steps were there? Well, in 1965, there were 5 steps. So if we look at this right here, we can almost count them. This is really, I'll tell you what, this coin has some of the worst steps for a mint set coin as any I've ever seen. But if we look down here, we can, if we really blow it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 steps there. Here's the next secret, and that is in 1990, they started putting in 6 steps. So I'm not sure if you are all aware of that, but in 1990, they moved to a 6-step version. So if we look at the back of the 1990 coin, and we have it in really good condition, a full steps will have 6 steps instead of the 5 that were there in 1965. Now, what's the big deal, and why don't I take this out of the plastic? Well, it's not the quarter. See, this is a quarter. In 1965, the quarter had gone to copper nickel. So in 1964, it was a 90% silver quarter. It's not the dime. The dime, of course, moved to the copper nickel also. If we tip this dime up, let's see if we can tip it up, and you can see, actually see the copper in there. So it's not the penny, though this is a beautiful penny from 1965. This is the key right here, and this is why we keep it in the envelope. And that is the 1965 Kennedy half, Gillian Roberts initials right down there. Now, this one's a little scratchy, but guess what? It is 40% silver still. So they kept the 40% silver in the half dollars 1965, 1966, and 1967. Of course, in 64 it was 90% silver, but they still, so this is a silver coin, so we keep it in the plastic, we keep it all together so we can identify it. And that's kind of the deal. How many regular 1965 nickels were made with no mint mark anywhere? They made 136 million. So you won't find that many anywhere, like just a regular 1965 nickel, compared to 1964, where they made 2.7 billion between Denver and Philadelphia. In 1965, they only made 136 million. So look for the 1965 regular coins. It's not worth that much unless you get it up to MS65 or above. At MS65 or above, it's worth about $8. And this coin here is probably worth $5 or $6 if you took it out of the plastic. But like I said, you probably want to keep it in the set. All right, thanks for watching Big D Coins. It's DC, over and out.